Welcome to Science Streams. If you are interested in all things science in a fun, wholesome environment, you are in the right place. SciAnts is a unique husband and wife team of Belinda and Lita, who hold their PhDs in molecular and systems biology from Dartmouth. What can you find here? The SciAnts team is dedicated to making science more accessible to our entire community. They believe that it is the responsibility of scientists to engage with the general public.
Almost all the time we talk science. We do rabbit hole and get loosey-goosey sometimes.
We occasionally talk science.
But everything's in a science context. We do games, science art, 3D printing of science stuff, all the science things.
We do science things. I can attest to the fact that we occasionally do science things.
And then Smikes also says, are we jumping into the fast gene editing when we really haven't explored the immunotherapy all the way with respect to this?
I mean, it depends what you mean by immunotherapies. I mean, immunotherapies themselves tend, not always, but tend to be gene editing. Right? I mean, some of the more interesting and effective ones are gene editing. They just freak people out a little bit less because a lot of the technologies, a lot of the medical advancements that have used CRISPR and gene editing take cells out of a patient, put them in a petri dish, gene edit them, and then once those cells are gene edited, we put them back in the patient. So you're not actually gene editing the patient, you're reinfusing them with corrected cells, but they're like not stem cells or something, so there's a limit on the kind of damage those cells theoretically would be able to do if the gene editing went wrong. There are a few cases where gene editing devices or technologies have been introduced directly to the patient. We talked about the treatment, a really interesting treatment for blindness where it was injected directly into the eye.
Yeah, we had a video on that too, which was really, because it was freaky, right? Because it just, you see it go towards the eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's, similar treatments like for sickle cell anemia. Again, that's taking cells out of the patient, editing them, and then putting them back. This is crazy. I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is crazy because they just injected the CRISPR. They injected the gene editing materials they needed into the bloodstream, and they targeted it to the liver because that's where the gene editing needed to occur, and it seems like that has worked. And not only has it worked, but in the 3 patients that received the lowest dose, so they're doing it in tiers, they're rolling it out and they're starting with a low dose and then titering up. And so they did 3 patients with a low dose, and they've all seen improvements both on the molecular, like the biomarker level, meaning like how are they monitoring the disease, but also as far as symptoms go. 2 of the 3 patients have completely taken themselves off of any of the management medications because they feel that they're no longer needed.
Mike's is asking this because we're still on the statistical front. Is 3 statistically significant? For a person, though, it's like...
What? I need to see the data. An N of 3 is very small, and while I could pull some statistical tests out of a hat for you...
Like some people do.
So no, I mean, should we be... But no, we shouldn't be putting a p-value on this. It's 3 people. They've rolled out 3 new patients.
Oh, sorry. The full question is, 3 statistically relevant enough to be promising. But I think that's kind of the same question.
Yes. I think that 3 is enough to be... 1 patient is enough to be promising. The fact that 3 patients have... The only 3 patients that received this treatment. It's not like 3 out of 100. 3 patients received the treatment. And all 3 of them... And again, this has not been published. This was presented at a conference. I want to see the actual final results. But I'm telling you what I know. 3 patients received the low dose. They all had positive signs as far as biomarkers go. They had positive clinical results. Like I said, 2 of the 3 patients have stopped taking their additional medications. They then treated recently 3 patients with a higher dose, and they've seen better biomarker results, but it's too early to start making comments about clinical symptoms. So it's looking very, very good. And what's extraordinary to me is the way that they injected this just into the bloodstream. And they packaged all of these little materials just in like a lipid nanoparticle. And the lipid nanoparticle then is like picked up in the liver and it's absorbed. And then once that lipid nanoparticle is absorbed, all of the gene editing bits are then released into the cell that absorbed it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which is exactly what those are the cells that they're trying to target. I just thought it was really cool. It was really clever. I haven't even told you guys what hereditary angioedema is. And
lipids are oils and fats, if I recall.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. I pretty much spilled the beans here. I just thought it was really cool. It's new enough that there are no videos specifically on this topic, but I'm always happy to talk about it, and there's always cool other CRISPR medical advances going. But I thought that was the whole package of it is pretty cool. I think the fact that they were able to simply inject it, it's like the least invasive CRISPR gene editing technique that I've heard of. They just injected it into the bloodstream and it targeted to a specific organ. That's nuts. And it seems to have clinical relevance thus far. And it's already been tested for safety, but of course they're still ongoing. They're monitoring for safety also because gene editing is something that you really don't want to make a misstep on. Obviously.
Latte, what would you like to share? Do you want the video or whatever you want? Let us know. We always put up the videos in the Discord after stream on the mentioned on stream. We're gonna watch this video, by the way.
We can.
Yeah, let's watch it.
This is just a video
of what they're curing, right?
Yeah, of a family who have 5 generations of HAE.
Yeah, of course, Latte Lizard, you can share. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you feel free. But again, the paper's not been published. It's not my paper. The paper's not been published, so I can't stand by. I need to see the numbers. But I think it's very promising.
Kennedy says, I so appreciate how you both are informative and will deep dive into what a layperson can understand without patronizing or talking down. I think it's super important, Kennedy, because one of the biggest problems with science communication is when either the scientists are like, I'm too good for this, which happens a lot, or B, they're just like, assume that people know nothing, and that's also frustrating.
I think it's the opposite. First of all, thank you so much. That's really kind, and I appreciate that. But I think this is just sort of how Blint and I are. I don't know. I feel like everyone's like, oh, what do you do to science communicate? I talk to people. I don't know. I feel like people go wrong when they're talking about science when they assume that they know everything / that the other people don't know exactly as much as they do. It just might be in a slightly different area. I'm just talking about stuff that I get excited about with a bunch of my friends who are other informed, intelligent human beings who hopefully have some mild interest in the thing that I'm excited about, and if not, they're kind enough to sit here and listen to me be excited.
And we're also like, if we say something that doesn't make sense, you just let us know, and we'll explain it a different way. So, because it's all for science, Leader, right?
For science. This one makes things laggy, too. What's going on?
I told you. This
is madness. All right, you start up this video. I'm going to make myself another mocktail. Do you want anything?
Thanks for watching SciAnts Media, and be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help our channel grow and support our science outreach and education goals. We can be found on Twitch most days of the week, and be sure to join us here for our next video. Thanks again, and stay curious, everyone.